welcome to another episode of the Going Over Podcast. It is I, your neighborhood friendly coach, trainer, promoter, and 44-year-old professional wrestler, Zack Primetime Reeb. We are closing in on 100. I believe we're at 96. Thank you to the viewership. Thank you to the haters. Thank you to the sea suckers out there, the sea sucker nation, who just won't hit that little subscribe button. But don't you worry, I've got other plans to foil you. And I'm joined alongside my podcast partner, as always, the 7-foot, according to yesterday, the 10-foot, 12-inch wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. Paul, wasn't that a stupid fucking question someone asked you?
Oh, it's, you know what it is? It's a lot of times it's a language barrier, right? You have no idea what you're talking about when you're saying the number of feet, right? A lot of people over the world, they use centimeters, right? Centimeters and meters. So I've had people thinking that they're giving me a huge compliment and saying, "What are you, like 6 feet?" Right? I was like, "Yes, 6 feet's not unusually tall." I have a lot of people that'll say, "What are you, like 7'5", 7'8", right?" And I was like, "Nope." And then this guy yesterday is asking me if I'm 11. Are you 11? And it's like, I think the language barrier, it sounds like 7, right? You get confused between 11 and 7, but
11 inches flaccid and uncut. Gotta peel that banana back to get to the meat, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so that was the conundrum, right? You could pull your cock out and go, "No, this is 11," right? But yeah, I just was like, "Oh, 7,
Yeah.
Keep the guy guessing.
Oh, he'll be guessing all day long and loving it. Did you see the video I sent you on Instagram?
I'm sure I did.
Where he's like, "Hey guys, need you to be cool. My high school sweetheart's coming to see me tonight." And he's like, "Oh, everybody be cool. It's my high school's. Yeah, what if I just stick my dick in Bethany's ear," or whatever her name was? "Oh yeah." And then, "Get off of me." And I just couldn't stop watching that video, man, because it's just like everybody has that one friend, right? Like
the overkill guy. Yeah.
That's me, man. That's me. 100 times every time, the overkill.
That's it, man. You have to be pulled off of the situation for you to realize that you're going overboard, right? You have to give them the constant reminder, saying, "Hey, I don't need you to do this over and over and over, right? Let's just keep it at a minimum. Like, hey, it's a funny joke for 10 seconds, but a minute in, then I'm like, it's getting a little old here, bud." Yeah, but it was funny. I thought it was a comical one, but it's one of those things that I feel like we all have that person in our group. It takes it a step too far, right? It's like, yeah, you're being funny, but now it is no longer humorous. So, oh man, but I guess something that's on my mind, man. This is something that's been brought up and discussed, and you had Big Ugly talking about how his wrestling school is run, and that it's not for the weak. It's not for it's not supposed to be like a pampered experience. Like, he's putting people through cardio drills and conditioning and things like that, right? And it's like, pro wrestling is difficult. This isn't for some person just to walk in and be able to pick it up very quickly, and it takes a lot of hard work, right? You gotta, we talked about last time, you got to be in shape, right? And we've talked about this in previous conversations, right? It's like you can't believe that if you are going to enroll in a wrestling school, that you're not going to come to that wrestling school prepared, right? In shape, understanding that you're going to be falling down, like an unnatural movement, like falling down on your back, potentially racking your head, right? Snapping your head back. Like I feel like there's no preparation done, right? You just have. I just remember listening to Stone Cold when he was talking about, when he first started training with Chris Adams, right? He's just like, I go to this tryout, and I expected it to be just a bunch of huge jacked up dudes, right? Because that's what I see on the pro wrestling scene, and he was almost surprised, at 6'2" and 250 or 260 pounds, that he was the most jacked in shape guy, at the wrestling school. So I don't know, man. Like, what do you think? These people are walking into the school. Do you think that they have no concept of what it's going to take to be a pro wrestler? Like, that you have to be in shape, you have to be prepared to fall down. Like that. I use this analogy all the time, right? You have those people that I feel like they come into pro wrestling and they think you're going to be bouncing off of rubber band style ropes, right? These ropes are just going to shoot you from one side to the other. You're going to bounce off of them. The ring is made of some sort of mattress style material, like it's a fluffy soft, like you're going to land. It's not going to hurt at all because pro wrestling is quote unquote fake, right? All the stuff that you guys do in there is fake, and obviously I've got to the point where I'm like, it's predetermined, right? It's predetermined. That's as close to fake as I am going to let on to believe, right? It is predetermined. We're going to figure out who's going to win the matches in advance, but all of the physicality that you're going to go through in both wrestling training and in wrestling matches is 100% real. Guys. You have guys that are at the top of their game are going to go throw good work punches, right? That both look real and barely touch you, right? You have very like the top echelon of those guys. They can do that. Then you have the guys that are going to throw realistic looking punches, but they're going to connect and they're going to get you every once in a while. And then you're going to have those guys that think that they got to really lay it in. They got to fucking hit somebody for real. And these are the guys that are fucking blackening each other's eyes and bloodying noses and lips and all that stuff, right? And then obviously you have the guys that are just completely missing on shots, and it's just overall you're looking at it and you go, that looks completely fucking ridiculous and fake, right? So I don't know, man. What is your opinion on all this stuff as I go on an 8-minute rant here?
Well, first off, I don't think anybody thinks at all. You're coming into the wrestling business. They definitely do not think they need to be in shape. They definitely do not think it's going to be hard work. And they show up, and I've seen guys just sit there and whack their fucking brain off the canvas all day during the first session. And you want to say, hey, I showed you how to tuck your chin. We've worked on this. But as you progress further, and I guess that's part of the progression is like, hey, this guy is not ready for that yet. Is it okay to teach a young kid? Yeah, it's okay to teach a young kid, but before they get to the point where they're working out, in a gym or playing a contact sport, don't bump the little fucker, man, because you're gonna stun his bones and his growth. This is you don't want a 9-year-old coming in there and slamming off the mat and getting a concussion at 9. We don't need to give kids concussions at that age. But no, there is no general thought into it. Some people do. Some people do their research and they go into the professional wrestling training and they know it's going to be hard. And the better the athlete, the better it is. I just had I just had Maple send me a video of a girl training around, and she was telling me I get a lot of videos that come through and are sent to me and that pop up on, you know, my news feed and all this. And she said a lot of times it's, you know, nothing too good, but sometimes you get like this one, you know. And I said, very athletic, right? Like the girl was very athletic, and said, yeah, very athletic. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for in these schools. We're looking for young athletes or just athletes sometimes. And we were talking about it earlier about how consistent it's a different type of promotion than it is for promoting a wrestling show. And if you're just putting stuff around town, it's probably going to get taken down because there's no date on it, promoting your training facility, school, whatever the fuck you call it. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to junior highs, if you're not going to high schools, if you're not going to colleges, if you're not trying to find these people and you're just putting up a poster in town expecting to get a random person that's been walking around, a lot of times you're just going to get, you know, what we call a mark. You're going to get just some random individual who's out of shape, who just thought, hey, this would be cool to be a pro wrestler. I can pull this off. And then you're going to get random people, you know, that don't listen. Like as I'm getting notified in this fucking podcast right now, I specifically told somebody that I am going to be recording a podcast. Please do not pump 1,000 fucking notifications into this group. And the person said, well, you can leave. You know, you could leave if you would like to, you know, no worries. And I'm saying, well, I don't want to leave this group. I'm telling you what I'm going to be doing here for the next hour, maybe a little bit longer by a couple minutes. And you continue to do this thing that I've asked you not to do. And that's where the training becomes a fucking problem, because you're trying to tell somebody something, right? You're trying to say, hey, this is hard. It's a different type of cardiovascular. That's what blows my mind, is nobody believes you. You're like, hey man, ring cardio is a whole lot harder, a whole lot different than going out and going for a little fucking jog or something. Because you're going, you know, especially tag wrestling, you're moving, you're slowing down, you're moving, you're slowing down, your heart rate's doing this fucking fluctuating thing. You're landing on the mat. There's lights on you. You're in the center stage around all this fucking body heat, man. It could be cold in the building, and by the time the fans pile in, it could be hot as shit. Sometimes you're under fucking floodlights. Sometimes you're under real lights. Sometimes you're light. There's so much going on. You have a split second. Wrestling is footwork and timing, right? It's footwork and timing. So we have to be alert of what we're doing. That's why we tell people to slow down. We don't just tell people to slow down for any other reason but that. I was talking to a student the other day, and I said, hey, whipping somebody, if you get lost in a match, grabbing a hold, bumping them, throwing them to the outside, taking them to a corner, these are all things that you can do. It's not just grabbing a hold. That's what they always say, grab a hold if you get lost. It's not just that. But there's one thing you do not want to do when you get lost. One thing you don't want to do. Take me to the corner. Toss me out of the fucking ring. Beat my ass all over the building. Grab a hold. Bump the fuck out of me. You don't want to run off the ropes. And I see so many people doing that. They're down there calling. They're like, and the person's like, huh? What the fuck's going on? And then they come up and they don't grab a hold. They don't take them back down to hear if they heard the communication was there. Put them in a corner, beat on there, bump them. They don't throw them to the floor. They literally run off the ropes. And I try to tell people, the last thing you want to do if you are lost, confused, or don't know what the fuck is going on is run off the ropes, because it's the one time that you're going and you're so far away. It's the one time you actually do lose the connection. And you're bouncing off these fucking ropes. And yes, you do bounce off these fucking ropes. So it blows my mind. And I see it in class a lot too. When people get lost, first thing they do is they try to shoot the guy, girl, whatever, off the fucking ropes and start doing a bunch of stuff that they don't know how to do, or they don't know is coming. And for the life of me, I find it funny that in a panic situation, you're supposed to remain calm. But in wrestling, when somebody panics, they fucking do the most dangerous thing you could possibly do in the world. Start running. Ding, 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 dong, 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 ding, ding, ding. So they don't. They don't. A lot of people do not. And you can see what it is, too, in the ring when you're watching. I was just watching, honestly, before this, a minute 38-second, 138-second highlight reel of Ricochet in Dragon Gate. And I was like, God damn, dude. Like, there is no number 2 of that guy. You know what I mean? There is no one fighting him on that level. Will Ospreay's good and athletic, but what I was watching on this video was like, God damn, bro. Ain't nobody else going to be doing that. But everybody else is trying to do that and emulate this guy and what he's done in the past. And it's like, let it be. There's not another Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's not another Undertaker. There's not another Edge and Christian, whoever. There's not another Ricochet. You're not going to get a guy that can bounce around and land like a cat like that all the time. Ospreay might be as close as they come, but I still don't think he's as impressive as a young Ricochet coming up through Japan in the Indies, man. So, yeah, people are not aware of what it takes to go back to that question and through this rant. And what it comes down to is research and fucking listening. There's my 8-minute retort back at you, Paul.
Oh, man. Well, that leads right into the kind of the next question was, what do you think the guys nowadays expect when they walk into a wrestling school? I just remember, the first time that I walked into a wrestling school, right? It was an old boxing gym. It had that distinct smell of like that combination of like kind of like old, sweaty, worn out equipment. Like obviously they've got into the stages now where there's some sort of disinfectant or antibacterial spray that they encourage you to wipe down the equipment nowadays. But there just wasn't that back in the day, right? It was just, 25 years ago, there was, you were sweaty, you laid down on the bench, you did your fucking workout, you got up, you walked to the next machine, that bench was still fucking sweaty from you laying on it. And then the next person would come and lay on it and their sweaty body, and they never, they didn't do a whole lot of cleaning. You had the guys that would go around and, wipe things down periodically, but the material would just get, kind of worn out and, and they'd just replace it or they'd put fucking duct tape over it or whatever it was, right? Just, just the old school gym equipment. And it just had the smell of, working out, right? It was dark. So for me, it was like, that's what I look at and go, hey, that's what a wrestling school is, right? And I've been to a dozen different wrestling schools, and you have pretty much the same type of thing, right? It's a dark building. It's it might be super hot. It might be super cold. I remember wearing a sweatshirt at some points when it was cold outside because there wasn't great heat in there. Or sweating your ass off in the summertime because there wasn't air conditioning, right? So just going through that, that's my, my view of going to a wrestling school. That's because that's how it was when I first came in, and I know that you guys had, your ring on your fucking farm, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Dog
obviously,
shit,
yeah,
cows.
yeah, you're trying to fucking get around stuff, right? It's a cluttered mess, right? You try to keep it as clean as possible, but it's space for other people as well, like people come and go and things like that. So I guess what do you think people nowadays are thinking about when they're walking into a wrestling school? Is that something that they walk in and they go, oh fuck, this place is dirty and this place is dark and it's hot, it's cold, like I remember the canvas that we wrestled on was essentially like a tarp. I think it was a tarp, like a sewn together, or maybe it was a big enough tarp that it could cover the entire ring. But
Yeah.
it was,
Bought it
yeah,
Lowe's or
yeah,
Home
right,
Depot.
exactly. It wasn't a fucking canvas. It wasn't vinyl. It was just a fucking tarp, right? It's what you're learning to wrestle on. It's not the it doesn't have to be the top show quality. It wasn't like the ring posts were fucking shiny painted black. It wasn't like you had super clean turnbuckle pads. Like I said, it was like, and I think if I remember correctly, it was literally like carpet padding was, rolls of carpet padding was what we had to bump on, right? And then obviously you get the people that buy their rings from, the monster rings and the high spots, and they've got a little thicker padding. It's a little more dense and cushions your fall a little bit, but it's like you're learning to be a pro wrestler, and you see so many people that they learn to wrestle in a fucking boxing ring. It has no give at all. It's fucking rigid. You talk about banging the back of your head on the fucking canvas when you take a bump. I mean, it's just exponentially worse in a boxing ring. I remember training in boxing rings that they go, oh no, it's a wrestling / boxing ring. It's like, well, if it's a boxing ring, there's not going to be a lot of fucking bounce to it, because you don't want that for boxing with the footwork. So I don't know, man. What do you think people are looking for today versus what is what you're looking for?
We're in a new era, man. COVID,
Right.
diseases, shit spreading around. Like, I'm lucky enough, and SPW's lucky enough too. Why would they want to get their own building or go anywhere else? Because John has a canvas on there that he requires us to, it says mop it after class. And I'll admit, sometimes I don't mop it. We mop it a lot, but I don't mop it. He's got sanitary wipes for us to wipe down the turnbuckles and the ropes when we're done, because John it has a very nice facility and wants us to keep that facility the way it is. There's automatic paper towel. Put your hand on it. The paper towel comes out. That's always full of soap. One thing I try to do for John is he's got 2 plastic garbage cans for plastic recyclables. He's got a trash can, and he's got a fucking the aluminum one. And one thing I like to do is, if I see it overflowing, I like to bag it up and put it over there for him and put a new one in. In the bathroom, when people start fucking piling paper towels up and shit, I like to fucking push it down in there and replace that too. And you look at it, one thing that really grosses me out is people are eating these fucking like meal plans, right? They're eating these meal planners now. And I don't know where they heat them up or whatever they're doing, but they just throw it with the food in the garbage can. Like, literally over at the building, they're like, oh, I get my meal preps online, right? Like, they come to my fucking house because I don't cook for myself. And then they tear the plastic off and they fucking eat the shit. And then when they're done eating it, they just throw it like there's green beans and fucking nasty shit in the garbage. It's like, just because there's a garbage can there doesn't mean that you can just throw a bunch of fucking food that's gonna. You guys are leaving for 2 days, whoever does this, till you come back again. That fucking building already smells like nuts and asshole and BO and sweat and everything else. And if you don't mop the fucking ring, it's going to be disgusting. So, I mean, those are just some things, man. It's like, even if you have a nice facility, whether you're paying rent on it or not, and somebody is asking you to do something, it goes back to that when we're talking about this stuff is just listening, having a little bit of common courtesy and a common respect. Anytime I know that there's been a situation at our training facility where somebody says, hey, or John says something like, hey, who did this? Or don't forget to do that. Or don't forget to, everyone's like, oh, yes, sir. And then they don't fucking do it. You can tell on the side of the ring when you come in to train, there's fucking pubic hair all over the fucking side aprons, man. Foot imprints. They ain't mopping the shit. They ain't. sweeping it out. And the reason I'm saying this stuff is because, Jesus, hold on just a second. I'll be right back. Save that thought.
Oh man, so I mean, definitely sometimes the ring. If you go to a place that's got a really nice setup, it's always nice, right? It's like, I think it's like a cherry on top of the sundae, right? You go to a place, clean ring. You have the ability to mop it, like the vinyl canvas. You have that ability. That's all good, man. So,
you know, got to get the studio going because Pop hit the damn thing on the dryer. It's going. I walk in there. There's still 4 minutes of fucking the house fucking falling down to go while this thing just around. Yeah, truthfully, schools are going to vary, right? Because not everybody has the luxury of what that. When we walked into that place, I was there first day when me, John, and everyone else walked in. It was dusty. It was dirty. It looked like fucking shit. There was a front end where with fucking tires that go on that rusted over in the corner. You got to get in there. You got to clean it out. You got to start over. I saw Ugly talking about his new place today. And it's like, I got to clean up a little bit and get things going. But we've talked about it before. Do you fuck 2-year lease? That's one of your big things is like, fuck, I don't want to commit to a 2-year lease if this thing ain't making money. Some people are just happy having a place, man. Right. You know, maybe I'll make some money, maybe I won't, but I got a place to train. And, you know, some people are just happy as that. But, you know, from the outside looking in, like we always talk to, you know, our boy Joey, old Dark Neon, and he has his thoughts on what a facility should look like. And I don't think he's wrong on the stuff he's saying, what a facility should look like, but are you making enough money to accommodate those things? You know what I mean? Can you greet the guys at the front with an ice cold water, a towel, and a little rub and tug on their way in? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Can I give you a massage with a happy ending after practice is over and crack your back a few times? That'd be nice. I'd love to end practice with a couple Asian ladies standing on my back and cracking my back and then hitting me with some hot shells and then telling me to roll over and giving me that number. Because, you know, I just
got to roll the dice, buddy. Got to
roll the dice. You know, salt and pepper grinder me. Because I feel every massage should end with somebody ejaculating. You know what I mean? There should be an orgasm after every 1 hour massage. If you're only willing to pay for half an hour, you don't deserve to come. That's the way.
That's it, man. But it's the high price, yeah. You get a little, you pay a little extra, you get a little extra, right? Of course,
100%. But what can you afford? You know what I mean? And I mean, it comes down to it too. Like we in wrestling, can we afford the facility? You know, I've seen the West Coast Pro facility because I've been down there. You know, Sparky at the gold mine, he had that old cafeteria and he turned it into an amazing place for shows and a very cleanly place to train with a lot of different rooms and avenues to do. You know, John's over here is a great place. We used to have a great facility in Oroville, but then again, you get off the cleaning aspect of it and it starts to become a what do they call a hoarding place? You know what I mean? You're hoarding stuff that you get. People are putting shit on top of the snack bars like at East Bay. There was a fucking ring up there I pulled down for Rick one time. You know, and that's, I've always been pretty blessed with rings, but you were talking about monster rings and stuff. Nowadays, steel's so expensive. If you can grab a good framed ring for under $2,000 just for the frame, you just made out like a fucking bandit, dude. But and then shitty ropes and shitty turnbuckles and shitty wood and shitty like there was so much work I had to put on that ring, but I had a good base. And that's what the school is. You need a good base to start working on. I don't think you should have weight equipment in there. I don't think you should be doing cardio drills and shit. Like do that on your own time. We're here for 2 or 3 hours. Let's stretch out. Let's get in the ring and let's work. Let's work on what we need to work on. You can have different stations and shit, but When I come to a wrestling school, if you want my honest to God's fucking truth, no. I don't think you should come into the school and there should be a fucking greeter at the door. I don't think there should be an ice chest. To be honest with you, ice water when you're sweating and working hard can tighten you up and cramp you up. So I think you should bring your own goddamn water.
Of
Well,
course.
why should I supply you with water at the training facility when you know you're coming to train? What do you go to a wrestling show, you know you're going to be there for 3 hours. Here's a food truck or a concession stand, but you still have to get your own fucking water. If you're thirsty, grab some shit to drink. Nobody goes to the gym. You know what they give you at the gym? There's a water faucet.
Right.
There's a water faucet because they're a gym, and by law, they have to have that in there for you. But the reality of it is, if you're going to, let's just say you're going on a hike. Let's say you're going on a fucking hike with your girl or your friends or something. You have to bring your own shit if you're going to if you know you're going to get physically exerted. Bring your own stuff, man. It's not a requirement. If you know you're going to be thirsty, bring your own stuff. If you know you're going to be hungry, bring your own shit. If you throwing your shit in the garbage can is going to make the whole place smell like fucking salmon or fish or tuna, take it out of the building with you, you know?
Right. Absolutely, man. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think about all those different situations. You know, you go to the gym, you know, you probably bring your own towel, you bring your own water. You know, we used to have people that were excessively sweaty. It's like, hey, dude, you need to bring an extra shirt to change into mid-practice when you get your first shirt all fucking sweated up. And, you know, because nobody wants to be in there fucking rolling around with you and your shirt is fucking completely drenched in sweat, right? Nobody wants that. You putting a fucking headlock on them and they got their head in your armpit and your shirt is completely soaked. You know, they don't want that shit. So bring an extra shirt or two, right? Depending on how long we're going. So I just think it's, you know, this goes back to the preparation of what you think walking into a wrestling school, what you should be doing, right? You should expect to go in there and you should expect to leave fucking drenched in sweat, right? Because hopefully you're working hard enough and you're going through things that are exerting you physically, right? And obviously, if you come in way better shape, then maybe that's going to be lessened to a degree. But definitely, you have to be prepared for those things, right? You have to prepare to go in there, you know, get sweaty, get warmed up, you know, be in an environment that it's going to be less than ideal, right? This isn't a fucking a spa where you're going in and they're handing you a fucking robe and a towel and a water and all that stuff, right? You know, this is exerting yourself in professional wrestling training, right? This should not be an easy thing, which is what I started off with. You know, this is a difficult thing to do, and you know, this is something that came from not everyone was invited to be a pro wrestler, right? You had to know someone. Somebody had to invite you into the inner circle, right? This has become where everyone, in theory, anyone can be a pro wrestler, right? As long as you're willing to pay your money and you know, sign your waiver and all that stuff, like anyone can be a pro wrestler. And you know, we've come so far from the days where you had to be invited to become, you know, the inside the business. You know, it wasn't just you know, you see a poster on the wall and you call the number and you pay the money and now you're trained to be a pro wrestler, right? It used to be where you had to you know, it was a lot tighter of a circle, right? You know,
Call
everyone,
it what it is,
yeah.
Paul.
What's that?
Call it what it is, man. I don't want to. Pussies, man. Fucking pussies. The wussification of fucking America, man. I get the concussion CTE protocol. I get that everyone's worried about a man's mental health and traumatic situations for women. Like, these are things that we deal with, and we suppress them in different ways. I'm an alcoholic, you know what I mean? There's drug addicts out there, gambling addicts. I get it all. But at the end of the fucking day, you said it right there. And that's something I want to touch on. I think if somebody wants to be in the wrestling business, they should have to take 20 rope bumps and get up the right way. And I mean 20 good rope bumps. And I don't give a fuck if you're a fan like Hawk Durfer who's recording. I don't care if you're the big guy Dickinson who that's a beautiful announcing set that you've made for the superstars of wrestling or whatever you do. But get in the goddamn ring and we'll show you how to do it. Take 10 fucking bumps and get up the right way. Not saying you have to be a pro wrestler, not saying you have to go through the training, but dude, get in the ring and land down there one time, because people do that. They're like, well, I'm filming or I'm doing this or I'm doing something else for the business. I'm in the business and I have the exact same right to give the exact same opinion as everybody else. No, you do not, man. There's so many people that came before you. And you could look at me and say, I'm being a prick. I'm not being a prick. I'm just telling you the truth. That's all I'm doing. I'm telling you how every fucking wrestler, how we feel. And nobody ever takes into consideration how we feel. They go, oh, I need some graphic work done. I need this. And the wrestler will shine you and kiss your ass and say nice things to you and post and give you stuff and buy you food. And it's human nature. Anybody will kiss somebody's ass most of the time if it means that they're going to benefit from something along the way. So if you're in the wrestling business and you haven't really paid your dues in the wrestling business and you're doing another type of job that's helping another wrestler or company out, and you're like, he's such a nice guy. He'd give me the shirt off his back. He gave me his boots. He buys me dinner. He says good things about me online and allows me to be in his social gathering. Yeah, because you're fucking doing something for the guy. And if you think I'm fucking lying about that, you're fucking dipshit retarded for that, because the truth is we're workers. We're workers. So what would you rather have in the business? Would you rather have somebody sitting here going, yeah, no, Paul, you're right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Or would you rather have someone going, hey, dude, shut the fuck up. You're overstepping your boundaries. Good idea. But no, this isn't the way we do shit around here. We're allowing, and that's why I said pussies. And people might get offended by that. Who gives a shit? Pussies. Pussies. I don't have enough subscribers on here to care. Fucking pussies. You know? Fucking what's a diamond upside down? It's a fucking vagina, man. You know, toughen up. And there's been a lot of people I see in the business. There's people I see in the business, male and female, that aren't ready, that shouldn't be in the ring yet. And I've physically gone up, and I've heard Ugly say it, and you've said, a lot of people, you go up and you try to talk to them, and they get like, he's telling me something negative. Well, you're never going to make it. Look me in my eyes right now. You will never, ever, ever, ever make it in professional wrestling if you're not willing to take constructive criticism. There, I said it. And I'm going to go 99.99% on that one, motherfucker. It's like, well, how can you expect to make it at something if you don't put in the work? Hey, man, your bump's bad. You got to work on your snap bump. You're not doing, oh, it's okay. Someone told me I could do it this way. Oh, did they? They did, right? They told you could do it that way. Well, fucking good for them. It just baffles me. And then people will see something like this and they'll get offended. They'll be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Yes, I do. Here. Yes, I do. Go ask Oliver John. He'll tell you I know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Go ask anybody in the wrestling business. They may say I'm a fucking outspoken loudmouth motherfucker, but nobody's going to say I don't know what I'm talking about. That's That's official.
Right. Well, this reminds me of the saying about don't don't be mad about the results that you're not getting for the work that you're not putting in. Right. It is very reminiscent of a statement like that. You have I don't know. Well, obviously, there's schools that want to get people out there quickly, right? And and it's understandable to a degree, right? You're like, you want people to get out there and sell tickets, and you always think that that's the carrot. Let's dangle the carrot. Hey, if you get out there and you sell 20 tickets, I can get you on the show, right? So it's a way to get someone on a show, right? That you're not paying and it's going to bring in some money for you. So I think that's definitely one of the big things why we have such a a wrestling scene that is so diluted with so much talent that you see that is not ready to be in wrestling matches or you named off 20 people right now that you said that could be in these prospect shows, right? These people need work. They should be on prospect shows. They should be coming in, working on their craft, in a smaller environment where you can go, hey, we're going to do these 6 matches. They're going to go 5 minutes, or less or whatever. And we're going to work on what we should be doing. Like, let's work on technique stuff. Let's work on storytelling. Let's work on selling. All these different things can be worked on in these smaller shows. And I know that Ugly is going to be doing matinee shows again. So with kind of the same premise, right? We're going to be working on younger guys, getting to work out there and work on certain things, right? This works, this doesn't. This needs to be cleaned up. You need to go back to your wrestling school and you need to work on your lockup, right? You need to work on taking a headlock. It's just different basic stuff that I feel like a lot of times is bypassed, right? Because we want to get to how do I take a pile driver, right? How do I give a pile driver, right? We're too concerned with the moves, and we've talked ad nauseum about that portion of it. We're so concerned about the moves that we don't care about the storytelling.
A couple months, 3 months. That's what the beginner's course. The beginner's course is. It's like, okay, here's your progression drills. Okay, you're through those. Cool. Run the ropes, hit the corners, show you how to do the lockups, and we can show you how to be a good basic wrestler and do all the enters and the exits and the bumps and the reversals and the counters. We can show you all that in 3 months if you're dedicated to it, right? And then the next 3 months, you're going to move up along the line. And now we can start showing you how to wrestle and shit. Like, I can think of a lot of people. I can just go on a naming barrage right now. Cairo Leone, Bryce Kuza, Aiden Andrews, Talon, Nick Nitrain. A lot of times his timing's off, but he's out there working hard, trying to do a bunch of stuff. He's getting in the ring. Preston Price, Chase Jackson. I think that was just knocking down SPW. You go along Ugly Dojo. You got Bishop Dorian. You got Jules Raphael. I was gonna say Santana the Rapper. I fucking do that all the time. You got fucking Brian Joseph. You got the big guy, Bobby Boucher, Bobby Bayou. Yeah, I love that guy. Love that guy. I honestly think those guys should be baby faces because they're such likable guys. And they're sitting there working on the sound and shit. You know what I mean? Tim Rogan. You got him. You got all these guys in PCW. Ethan Reno, Arsonist, Dickie Dakin, Annabelle, Brandon Nash. I mean, I'm just naming off people. There's so much talent out there that are ready to get in the ring and work. And a lot of those guys they named are ready. They can help the younger talent. What I'm talking about is when you got people that have been around for a long time and their punches and their kicks and their fundamentals and the shitty headlock takeover and what the fuck was that? Why is this person doing these moves and why are they in this situation and then you try to tell somebody, hey, you try to tell a coach about that, and a coach gets offended, or you try to tell the actual student themselves that, and they get offended that you're trying to tell them that it's none of those people that I named have I sugarcoated anything to them, those young individuals. I've never once said, hey man, you're fucking, told Preston Price, what are you doing? You're selling up when I need you to sell down. You're the baby face. I need you below. You're taller than me. I need you down here. What's he do? He changes it. I was so mad at Nick Night Train that first time I wrestled him, and not mad like, oh, I hate this guy, but I was just mad about like I bypassed my lockup to grab something and had no idea where he wanted to go. And I talked to him about it, and we didn't even go over the match like I wanted to, but then he listened to me, and it's not that I say you have to listen to me and I'm the only one you have to listen to, but I love the fact that I sat outside a building watching the show, watching Oliver John maul people and grab them around the waist, because I think they need that. I'm so tired of hearing everybody go, oh, Ollie's a legend. He's a legend in this sport. Yeah, he's great. But you know what's going to be even greater? Get in the ring with him and let him beat the shit out of you for a couple hours. And then tell me that he's a legend. Because you're just saying that because everybody else is saying that. And I'm not denying that fact. I'm just saying, experience it. Fucking get in there with this 50-year-old fucking monster of a man and let him just grab you around the waist and grab an arm. Let him show you. Let me show you. Let Ugly show you. Let you, Paul, show. Let all these other guys show you. There's so much knowledge to have out there. I listened to Choopy talking to some guys, and Choopy gives a lot of great advice. And then I heard Choopy telling someone about lifting weights, and his max was 175, and I was like, we're gonna throw a few more fucking plates on, a few more wheels on the end of that motherfucker. We're gonna get that chest barreled up. But there's so much knowledge out there, and not just some guy sitting there telling you what to do. People that can actually get in there with you still and execute the training with you in the ring. So a lot of people are, I'm not hating on anyone. I'm just saying, if you think you're going to do something in this business without putting in the work, well, you're fucking wrong.
Right. Sadly mistaken.
Sadly.
That's right. So definitely great opportunities out there. It's like, we say it over and over and over, man. You got to seek out these people that have more knowledge, right? Go talk to them. Go ask them to watch your match. Go lock up with them, chain around with them, roll around with them. I feel like, and I just did it today, right? I was talking about, hey, this is what time we're going to set up the ring, right? Hey, we're getting into the building. This is what time ring crew is going to happen, right? And then a couple hours before the show, that's going to be call time, right? So the question is, how many people are going to show up for ring crew, right? Because I feel like you get the ring crew done quickly, right? Yeah, it can take an hour and a half. It can take an hour and 15 minutes. It can take 60 minutes. But it could also take 30 minutes if you have everybody dialed in and boom, 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 get the ring set up. Now, all of a sudden, the call time that everyone needs to be there isn't when the ring is set up. The ring is set up several hours before that. And now you have the opportunity to jump in the ring and go, hey, Zack, can I roll around with you for a little bit? Can you show me some stuff? Hey, Steve, can you jump in the ring, roll around, show me some stuff? Hey, Ollie, can you jump in the ring and show me some stuff? And like Choopy, all these different people, right? You have the opportunity to jump in there and work on some stuff before the show starts, right? So many people get to the show, bullshit with everybody, put on your gear, and the only time you're in the ring is when you're choreographing your match or while you're actually having your match, rather than getting there several hours early and looking for those opportunities to jump in there and and get your hands on somebody who knows more than you, or the older guys jumping in the ring and I don't want to say forcing guys that are not as good to get better, but because you don't want to force yourself on someone, but there is a lot of opportunities, and I think a lot of the veteran guys are going to sit back and essentially it's a test, right? I'm going to sit back and see who walks up to me and says, "Hey, would you mind showing me some stuff? Hey, I was thinking about this. Do you think it makes sense?" So many questions that I get from like a bad news. Like I think he's, that he's really good, but every single show, the guy has a conversation with me about something that he's thinking about. Do I think it makes sense as a big guy? How can I do what I'm doing better? All of these things. So, when you have guys like that are thirsty for knowledge, it is refreshing, because there are so many people that think they know what's going on or don't think they need help or are standing there while a training seminar is going on, and instead of getting in the ring and working on something, they're standing on the outside thinking they know what's going on and they don't need any extra help. I've been around the business for 10, 12, 15 years, so I'm good. I don't need anything extra, so I don't know. Like I think about, there's probably never a time that if Oliver John is around, that I wouldn't ask him questions. Vinny Massaro, all these guys that I think have been around and have knowledge that they could share with me, that I wouldn't go up to them and say, "Hey, what do you think about this? Can you watch my match? Can you do this, that, whatever?" I think a lot of opportunities are missed for sure.
Well, and there's people online that people mock. Like there's Brutal Bob Evans, right? He offers training seminars and online stuff. And I read and listen to Bob's stuff all the time. He's been in the business a long time. He's a smart motherfucker, man. He's not lying about what he's saying. Just a lot of people are like, "No, I don't want to book Bob to do that." Well, Bob's had a lot of success doing that stuff, and I like picking Bob's brain apart online by listening to some of the stuff he has to say. Rudy Gonzalez, fuck, he was Shawn Michaels' trainer down there at the Texas Wrestling Academy or Alliance, and Rudy is endorsing Damian Slater's stuff right now, which we love. Damian Slater, man. Like Damian Slater's out there specifically talking about this stuff. We had him on the program early on. It was a big surprise by me because I started watching this guy's stuff, and then I turned you on to it, and then you're like, "Guess who's on the show? Damian Slater," which we got to bring back on the show. And like I said, Rudy Gonzalez. I mean, a lot of people hate on that guy, but I haven't really read much that he has put up in the last 5 or 6, maybe way even more years than it makes sense. These guys know what they're talking about. But those are just 3 that I can name off the top of my head. Brutal Bob Evans, Rudy Gonzalez, and Damian Slater right now that know what the fuck they're talking about. And they're right there online. Everybody's friends with them. And a lot of times people are talking shit like, "Well, what do you know?" Well, they know something because they've done quite a bit of something in the wrestling business. So, it's out there. That information is out there, something that we weren't given. I was talking to Ethan Reno about it the other day, and I'm like, "Man, you guys are lucky. You are way better at 18 than I was at 18. I started at 17. You started at 15. You were already in the ring by 16 against Boyce LeGrand for 30 minutes. Like, I didn't have these opportunities that you had. And like our generation, and here we go again, our generation actually had to create opportunities. There was all pro wrestling and big time wrestling ahead of us. But when I came up, unless you were part of that crew, you were either part of PCW or there was SPW, RPW, and NAW in Fresno. So they were like a group of 3, but I feel SPW at the Colonial was the big thing in Sacramento where everybody ran. And then there was us, and off of building a ring and getting, because I remember Brian Brigger hit up Skits, and we had the ring. They wanted us to build him a ring, me and my dad, And I remember Adam, Luster, Corey, Malachi, all them came down for 2 or 3 months to train with us every Sunday, all day. Brian was there, Skits was there. We merged the two trainings together. They were Coastal Pro, and we built them a ring. 5 minutes remain in this podcast. So a lot of where wrestling has gone. That's what I always say. Like when I got down to APW with Gabe and Roland, I took, Brian Cage, AJ Kirsch, Oliver John, took these guys, Scotty Aboot, took these guys down there at a time when Modest and those guys, Vinny, Morgan, Bison, had left for Pro Wrestling Iron. So when I came in, Roland really wasn't accepting of outside talent, man. So to be part of that movement, to bridge that gap so that all the wrestling promotions that were kind of looked down upon were able to come together and start working it, and the rosters were able to come together like that was really cool, man. I always say I'm glad that I've met everybody I've met, and I've been, Sparky asked for my help with Gold Rush. Dom asked, or Caesar Black, whatever he goes by now, asked for my help with Steve-O for Fog City. John with WCWF. Like, I've helped a lot of companies grow and get started, and that's been a fun thing, man. I've watched a lot of guys come up in the business, man. There was a good crew at APW. Dave Dutra, Matt Carlos, Jody Christofferson, Jekyll's, Dylan Drake. There was a really good crew of guys at Will Hobbs, that I got to watch come up there with the talent. So definitely been it's been a ride, man, to be around all these guys. And here we are, let's not fuck up now. You know what I mean? Like, we've been up and down these roads for 26 years, some of us longer, some of us a little less. We got this camaraderie and stuff together. So let's not give up on teaching these people the basics and fundamentals and educating them and giving them the proper knowledge on how to get this thing done. Sorry, Ugly. I was taking a ribby shot at you. You got the commercial changed to knowledge. So I was just joking around over here.
Hey, but this wouldn't be we wouldn't have our pro wrestling family if we couldn't fuck around and give somebody some shit, right? Hey, what happened on that crossbody, bud? Thought you're gonna get up there, right? All these things. So, hey, you're right. Hey, what happened, man? You came in and you bumped into me when you're supposed to be waiting. Oh shit. Good stuff, man. Well, man, this 58 minutes just flew by. Like, I felt like we just started talking, and all of a sudden now we're almost done, man. But I think that, man, I feel like 100 potentially might line up for Boomtown. I'm not sure. We said it's not, but it seems like it potentially could. Right? We've got this one coming out 96. Coming out on the 31st.
Big in Boomtown.
Right? 97, 98, 99, 100, man. 100. Didn't we say 100? That's going to come out the 14th. 14th should come out. We should just do it live the 15th. At Boomtown, episode 100.
Get some interaction.
That's what we should do, man. Let's get it.
Get the sea suckers. That's what I'm gonna. That's what we're gonna call the
SCASUKER.
Sea suckers. No.
Oh, see, there you go. You went sea suckers with the Booker T track in the background. I just heard it.
I would love if the Going Over Nation was called the Sea Suckers, man. That would be the epitome, the epitome of greatness. You've made the list of sea sucking, but the future, I like what I see for the future, man. I'm looking at this Prospect Cup. I can't wait for that 8-man tournament because I think it's going to be really good. I mean, these are a lot of people that I've seen in a lot of the matches, and I'm talking really fast because I'm trying to get all this in before it gets over with. Hey, everybody, this is Going Over Podcast. This is Zack Primetime Reeb, your neighborhood-friendly coach, trainer, 44-year-old professional wrestler, and that is the 10-foot, 12-inch wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. And Paul, say it one time. We're
going over.